Have you ever felt it? That quiet hum in a room, the subtle shift in energy when you walk in? A feeling that eyes are tracking you, even when you haven't said a word. It's not always hostility, not always admiration. Sometimes, it's something deeper, something unexplainable. You're not imagining things. You're not alone. This isn't a random feeling. It's a spiritual signature. You carry an unseen power, a divine blueprint that stirs something profound in others. And today, we're going to unpack why. You are not here by accident. Your life is designed to disrupt, to inspire, and sometimes, to quietly infuriate. Because you were never meant to fit into ordinary boxes. You're being watched because you are marked. A supernatural shift is already underway in your life. A divine wealth transfer, prepared long before you even prayed for it. What was withheld is being released. What was delayed is now accelerating toward you. The God who promises treasures hidden in secret places is aligning those treasures with your name. Get ready. Something holy is moving toward you right now. Let this truth settle in your spirit with clarity. The reason people stare, whisper, and speculate about you isn't personal. It's because heaven has wrapped you in a mystery that can't be decoded by natural eyes. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to shift the atmosphere without saying a word. To unsettle the ordinary because the anointing on your life refuses to be overlooked. There's a beauty in the way God has hidden you. Not to diminish you, but to distinguish you. The world keeps trying to figure you out, but they can't solve you because you were crafted in the secret place. You carry layers only divine revelation can interpret. Whether you notice it or not, people feel your presence before they ever hear your voice. They sense something they can't quite name, a light, an authority. It pulls on them in ways they don't understand. This is why their minds race, their curiosity is uncontrollable, their questions multiply at the mere mention of you. They are encountering the residue of heaven on a person who refuses to announce themselves. They're touched by your aura before they even understand why. And that, chosen one, is exactly what the Spirit of God intended. I've lived long enough to understand this personally. There were seasons where I walked into rooms and felt eyes tracking me, analyzing me, not out of admiration, but confusion. I used to shrink back, thinking something was wrong. But God taught me, you are not being watched because you are strange. You are being watched because you are marked. When you carry divine assignment, you will always interrupt the natural order without trying. Chosen one, that's you right now. Your silence speaks. Your restraint speaks. Your discipline speaks. The things you don't share carry more weight than what others scream from the rooftops. You move differently because you are led differently. You act differently because you are guided differently. And that difference provokes both fascination and frustration in those around you. People cannot put you into their neat little categories. They can't pin a label on you. They can't predict your next step. And this irritates their spirit because human nature craves control and clarity. But heaven has concealed enough of you to keep you spiritually protected, while still letting your light leak through just enough to disrupt every environment you enter. This is why they wonder what you did. Why they speculate about your life, why they talk in circles trying to understand how you keep rising without announcing. They are witnessing results without being granted access to your process. Chosen one, hear this with conviction. God intentionally designed your life to produce undeniable outcomes with untraceable fingerprints. It is part of your divine covering. Your success is a mystery. People see the fruit, but not the planting. They see the growth, but not the pruning. They see the shift, but not the sacrifices. They see the breakthrough, but not the breaking. And the less they know, the more they obsess. Because the unknown is a mirror. In trying to interpret you, they reveal themselves. In trying to decode your silence, they expose their insecurities. You become the canvas for their own projections. This is your spiritual edge. You exist as a walking paradox. Visible yet hidden, present yet untouchable, relatable yet unreachable. There is something in you they can sense but cannot name. That tension is what draws them deeper into the mystery of your presence. Many don't realize they're not reacting to you, they're reacting to the glory on you, the favor around you, and the destiny within you. Your life emits a frequency their spirit picks up, even if their mind can't interpret it. Heaven designed you this way so your steps would stay protected, your strategies concealed, and your breakthroughs unstoppable. And let me tell you from experience, the moment you stop explaining yourself, your power multiplies. Explanations dilute mystery. Mystery amplifies authority. This is a game changer for your journey. The moment you stop trying to justify your choices, defend your calling, or make your journey palatable for others, heaven lifts you to levels explanation could never reach. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to narrate your every move. God has already validated what others are trying to verify through observation. You are the story they can't stop telling themselves. The puzzle they can't complete. You are the shift they can't explain. And the best part? You're not even trying. Your existence alone is a prophetic sign that God still raises hidden ones, elevates the underestimated, anoints the unlikely. He still deposits treasure into vessels the world dismissed. Chosen one, you are the mystery heaven wrote, and earth can't ignore. And this, my friend, is only the beginning of your revelation. Lean in, because this part requires spiritual maturity to truly grasp. One of the greatest marks of a God-appointed life is this: your results speak louder than any explanation ever could. Heaven has been moving in ways you didn't broadcast, shifting things you never announced, aligning victories you never promoted. And now, the undeniable evidence of God's hand on you is showing up everywhere. In conversations you're not part of. In rooms you've never entered. In minds you've never met. Your success is starting to surface in ways you didn't try to engineer. People can feel it. They can sense it. They can see it in the way you carry yourself, lighter, wiser, sharper, quieter, but somehow more powerful. And this is what has their spirit stirred. Not because you bragged. But because your life is producing outcomes that demand interpretation. I know this feeling deeply. There were seasons where I worked in silence, rebuilt behind closed doors, prayed until my voice was gone. I sowed seeds no one ever saw. Then suddenly God began to manifest the harvest, and people assumed something happened overnight. They didn't know the warfare that preceded it. They didn't know the nights I held on to faith like a lifeline. They didn't know the crushing God used to create clarity. They only saw the fruit, not the planting. The glow, not the fire. Chosen one, that's exactly where you are now. You don't need to explain why doors opened. You don't need to explain why you changed. You don't need to explain why God elevated you. You don't need to explain how you made it out of battles designed to break you. Your life itself is the explanation. Your endurance is the explanation. Your resilience is the explanation. And your survival is the ultimate explanation. That is what drives them mad. People crave clarity, cause and effect, details that make your breakthrough logical. But chosen breakthroughs are never logical. They're divine. They're spiritual. They're orchestrated. And because of that, there will always be confusion surrounding how you rose the way you did. Your results are prophetic. They're not just accomplishments. They're signs. Signs that God kept His hand on you. Signs that divine timing is real. Signs that spiritual alignment outperforms human effort. Signs that heaven has been working behind the scenes. To position you exactly where you were meant to be. But here's the part most people cannot understand: your greatness is built on things they didn't witness. The private sacrifices, the internal battles. The prayers whispered in desperation, the moments you almost gave up but didn't. The times you trusted God even when you didn't understand the plan. People want the how, but they can't handle the truth. Because the truth is supernatural. The truth is spiritual. The truth is, God did it. And God doesn't reveal his process to everyone. Your success forces people to think deeper, to question assumptions. To wonder how someone who vanished for a season suddenly reappeared with strength they can't fathom. And the more unanswered questions your life creates, the more obsessed they become. Your silence is louder. Your elevation is louder than their assumptions. Your peace is louder than their speculation. While they overthink you, you're already on to the next assignment. While they analyze your moves, you're planning your next step. While they try to reverse engineer your progress, heaven is preparing your next promotion. True people study what they cannot replicate. Your consistency confuses them. Your self-control convicts them. Your spiritual maturity exposes their stagnation. Your divine protection threatens their understanding of the natural world. This is why they scramble. This is why they analyze. They dissect every step you take. And while they pick apart your actions, they miss the most important detail: the anointing is not visible, it is sensed. The glory is not explained, it is felt. Your destiny is not documented, it is spiritually discerned. Years ago, someone told me, "You make impossible things look effortless." I thought it was a compliment, but later I realized the truth. It wasn't that the work was easy. It was that God made the outcome appear seamless because the process was sacred. He hid the blood, the sweat, the crushing, the molding. He allowed people to see the finished vessel, but shielded them from the fire that shaped it. Chosen one, God has done the same with you. He hid the warfare but revealed the victory. He hid the breaking but revealed the blessing. He hid the pruning but revealed the fruit. He hid the struggle but revealed the strength. This is why people question you now, not to judge, but to understand. Not to diminish, but to decode. They see your growth, your glow, your discipline, your calm, your elevation. And they cannot accept that it came without explanation. But that is the mark of the chosen. Heaven builds you in silence. And reveals you in power. Chosen one, embrace this. Embrace the fact that you don't owe anyone your blueprint. Embrace that what God is doing in you is not meant to be understood by everyone. Your rise is spiritual, not social. Prophetic, not predictable. Divine, not explainable. You are living proof that God lifts who he chooses, when he chooses, how he chooses, and he doesn't ask permission. Chosen one, hear me clearly. The opposition you've faced, the jealousy you've sensed, the strange tension that rises when certain people walk into the room, none of it has ever been about your possessions or achievements. Those things may look like the reason on the surface, but spiritually, the truth runs deeper, much deeper. They don't hate what you have. They hate what they cannot replicate. That's the core of it. They hate the way you move through life with a quiet grace that doesn't make sense to them. They hate the way storms hit you, yet somehow you emerge looking stronger instead of shattered. They hate the way doors open for you without you begging, performing, or compromising. They hate the way people gravitate toward you, not because you're loud, but because you carry something ancient, holy, divine. And if you've ever wondered why you trigger such strong reactions, let me explain it in a way your spirit will recognize. Your presence exposes their limitations. It's not personal. It's spiritual. I've lived through this and I know the sting. People I'd never harmed treated me like a threat. People I supported suddenly became cold. I took it personally until God revealed the truth. They are not reacting to you. They are reacting to what I placed in you. Chosen one, the same is happening to you. It's not your success, it's your substance. It's not your blessing, it's your becoming. It's not your shine, it's your spirit. You carry a blueprint they were never given. You see the world through a lens they never learned to craft. Your creativity, instincts, resilience, discernment. These are not skills you acquired. They are signatures of your anointing. That is why they can mimic your style, copy your ideas, steal your words, but they still can't duplicate your impact. You cannot copy what was birthed in fire. You cannot duplicate what was forged in prayer. You cannot imitate what was shaped by destiny. And that's why they're frustrated. You make difficult things look effortless. Not because they were easy, but because you were designed for them. You carry a grace that isn't fair in the natural realm because it wasn't given in the natural realm. It was assigned spiritually. Heaven equipped you with something intangible, a light that irritates the darkness hiding in others, a confidence that reveals their insecurity. Your presence forces them to confront parts of themselves they've ignored. They're not angry at you. They're angry that they don't have what you have. Your clarity feels like arrogance to those still confused. Your alignment feels like privilege to those still scattered. Your elevation feels like a threat to those staying stagnant. And your peace, oh, that's the part that disturbs them most. Because peace is expensive, and you earned yours in places they've never been willing to enter. You didn't receive peace for free. You learned it through pain. You didn't awaken spiritually by accident. You were pushed awake by hardship. You didn't grow effortlessly, you grew through seasons where breaking felt more real than breathing. People see your resilience, but they don't see the nights you cried yourself into strength. They see your confidence, but they don't see the seasons where self-doubt tried to suffocate you. They see your glow. But they don't see the battles that almost dimmed your soul entirely. And this is the part they'll never understand. Your confidence is rooted in survival, not ego. When God became your anchor, you stopped clinging to validation. When heaven became your compass, you stopped following people who never knew where they were going. When purpose became your oxygen, you stopped suffocating in rooms that were draining your spirit. That sets you apart. You carry a level of authenticity that terrifies those who've built their entire identity on performance. A level of self-awareness that threatens those who refuse to confront their own patterns. A level of depth. Emotional and spiritual depth that exposes the superficiality in others. A level of divine timing that reminds them how lost they feel in their own journey. It's not personal. It's spiritual. It's prophetic. Here's the truth, most won't admit they admire you as much as they resent you. Because you represent everything they wish they could be, grounded, guided, aligned, awakened, chosen. You walk in favor they tried to force. You walk in purpose they tried to fabricate. You walk in identity they tried to construct. What is natural for you is impossible for them without the anointing you carry. They blame you for their reaction. But hear this, their hatred is actually proof of your calling. Their envy is confirmation of your elevation. Their discomfort is evidence of your transformation. When God raises a person, the world responds. Sometimes with admiration, often with confusion, and sometimes with hostility. But all of it is a sign that heaven has shifted you into another realm. One that cannot be understood or accessed without divine assignment. You are not who you used to be. You are not operating where you used to operate. You are not seen the way you used to be seen. You are different, and God did that intentionally. Embrace this truth. Don't dim what God highlighted. Don't shrink what God stretched. Don't apologize for what God cultivated. The same God who elevated you is the one who will sustain you. He did not bring you this far to retreat. You are not too much. You are not intimidating. You are not arrogant. You are awakened. You are aligned. You are anointed. And this, chosen one, is only the beginning of your impact. Stand for a minute. Chosen one, listen closely because this truth will shift the way you view every critic, every doubter, every voice that ever rose against you. What they don't understand, what they can't understand, is that in trying to monitor you, mock you, or minimize you, they accidentally turn themselves into your biggest supporters. They won't admit it out loud, but spiritually, they orbit around your life. Like planets around a sun, they pretend not to notice. Their eyes stay on you even when you're not looking. Their thoughts drift toward you even when you haven't spoken. Their curiosity pulls them back again. And the wildest part? You didn't ask for any of this. You didn't ask for their attention or their focus. But that's how it always is with the chosen. When God marks a person, the world cannot help but watch. Some of these people check on you more consistently than the people who genuinely love you. They dissect your words. They track your progress. They analyze your silence. They notice the smallest changes. In your energy, your glow, your direction, your posture. They have made a habit out of observing you. Not because you forced yourself into their world, but because something in you refuses to leave their mind. And let me tell you something from personal experience. It's not admiration. It's not envy. It's not hatred. It's attachment. A spiritual tether formed without permission. Strengthened by the very mystery they can't solve. They are drawn in by the parts of you that cannot be duplicated, the grace, the discipline, the evolution, the way you rise without fanfare and transform without noise. You became the storyline they follow in secret. You became the chapter they keep rereading. You became the mirror that exposes and inspires them at the same time. And here's the part they'll never confess, watching you makes them feel alive. Your resilience awakens something dormant in them. Your transformation forces them to question their excuses. Your strength reminds them of their own neglected potential. Your growth makes them wonder what's possible. They don't hate you, chosen one. They're hungry for what you carry. But instead of acknowledging the hunger, they hide behind criticism. Instead of celebrating you, they monitor you. Instead of learning from you, they shadow you in silence. Instead of supporting you openly, they follow you covertly. Because to honor you publicly would require them to admit what their pride cannot handle. That everything they once doubted in you has become everything they now admire. I've been there myself. People who once dismissed me later became addicted to my progress. People who once overlooked me started watching. It took time to understand this wasn't contradiction, it was confirmation. Confirmation that God had raised me in ways they couldn't ignore. Confirmation that I had become a sign, a signal, a reference point. Chosen one, that is exactly what's happening with you. Your doubters became your audience. Your naysayers became your observers. Your critics became your students. Your enemies became your evangelists. Understand this dynamic. Every time they talk about you, even in negativity, they spread your influence. Every time they wonder about you, they tie their energy to yours. Every time they speculate, they expand your legend. And the best part? You stay silent, and they do the promotion for you. Your elevation is effortless because it was never human-made, it was heaven-ordained. You don't chase attention. Attention chases you. You don't seek validation, validation shows up uninvited. You don't compete for a position, the position shifts to accommodate your anointing. This is the spiritual reversal God promised. The same people who questioned your worth are now studying your glow. The same people who spoke against you now monitor your victories. The same people who tried to dim your light now rely on it to navigate their own darkness. This is divine irony. This is prophetic justice. This is spiritual reordering. Never forget, the attention on your life is not accidental. It is evidence. Evidence of your calling. Evidence of your growth. Evidence of your evolution. Evidence of your supernatural influence. You don't have fans. You have witnesses. Witnesses to your becoming. Witnesses to your breakthrough. Witnesses to the glory of God unfolding through you. And many of them don't even realize they've been drafted into that role. But here's the truth your spirit must absorb: the ones watching you the hardest are the ones who need your rise the most. Your transformation gives them permission to believe theirs is possible. Your courage confronts their fear. Your obedience challenges their complacency. Your glow awakens their desire for more. You are a catalyst. Chosen one, your journey is preaching even when your mouth is silent. Your life is teaching even when you are not speaking. Your presence is shifting even when you are not trying. And this is only the middle of the story. This is where the mystery of your life becomes almost unbearable for the people watching you. Because every time they think they've figured you out, you shift again. Every time they predict your next step, you surprise them. Every time they assume you're done, God unfolds another layer. You are not just unpredictable. You are spiritually untraceable. Your victories catch people off guard because you are not playing the same game. While they study trends, you follow revelation. While they follow rules, you follow the Spirit. While they depend on logic, you depend on divine timing. And while they move by sight, you move by discernment. You're not ahead because you're faster. You're ahead because you're guided. There were seasons in my life where I made decisions that didn't make sense to anyone around me. Leaving opportunities, walking away. Shifting directions, going silent, planting seeds in hidden places. And people assumed I was losing. They assumed I was confused. But God was positioning me. And when the fruit appeared, everyone asked, how? They didn't understand that divine moves look foolish until the harvest manifests. Chosen one, you understand this, too. You've made choices that didn't make sense to the natural eye. You weren't moving randomly. You were following instructions. People don't see the private conversations you've had with God. They don't see the dreams that warned you. They don't see the spiritual preparation that went into each step. All they see is that you suddenly succeeded in ways they can't comprehend. And this is why they scramble to reverse engineer your progress. But they can't, because your strategy is not written on paper. It is written by heaven. The reason your life feels like it unfolds in divine leaps instead of natural steps is because you operate in a realm they don't have access to. You are tuned into a frequency average minds cannot interpret. You see opportunities where others see dead ends. You sense timing that others miss. You discern openings others overlook. And the reason your moves shock them is simple: they measure your life by what they can see. But your life is built on what only you and God know. They think you win because you're lucky, but you win because you're obedient. They think you rise because you're talented, but you rise because you're aligned. They think you succeed because you try hard, but you succeed because you hear what others ignore. When you make a move, it's not random. It's prophetic. Every shift carries weight in the unseen realm. Before it ever shows up in the natural one. You are not reacting. You are responding to heaven. This is why they can't predict you. This is why they can't copy you. This is why they can't compete with you. Because you're not just making moves, you're moving with God. And anyone who moves with God becomes a paradox to those who move without Him. Your unpredictability is your protection. Your mystery is your mantle. Your hiddenness is your advantage. If the enemy can't trace you, he can't trap you. If people can't read you, they can't restrict you. Your life is covered in divine camouflage. Heaven reveals just enough for you to rise. But never enough for your enemies to interfere. And this frustrates them deeply. People want you to be simple, linear, predictable, explainable. But chosen vessels are never any of those things. Chosen vessels move in patterns too complex for the human eye because those patterns aren't earthly, they're heavenly. And let me tell you something deeply personal: when God elevates you, He orchestrates your rise. In a way that confuses those who underestimated you. Not to embarrass them, but to demonstrate that your destiny is not a group project. Your calling was authored by God, and God alone. When you make 3 moves they never saw coming, it's because heaven whispered them before the earth witnessed them. When you step into blessings others thought you'd never touch, spiritual doors opened first. When you rise in silence, it's because elevation happened spiritually before it happened publicly. This is why your entire life feels like one long plot twist to those watching you. One moment they think you're done. And the next God launches you higher. One moment they assume you're stuck, and the next you leap forward. You are not unpredictable. You are prophetic, chosen one. Your path is not confusing. It is consecrated. Your timeline is not broken, it is divinely synchronized. Your calling is not chaotic, it is spiritually engineered. Remember this: you are only confusing to those who were never supposed to understand. And the same God who led you this far is about to lead you into your next realm. One they will never see coming either. Embrace the unfolding mystery that defines your divine journey. There is something about you that people cannot comprehend, cannot articulate, and cannot escape: your energy. The atmosphere shifts when you walk in, even if you enter quietly. Conversations pause. Eyes turn. Spirits stir. Not because you demanded attention, but because heaven announced you before you opened your mouth. Your energy carries weight. Spiritual weight. Divine voltage. Heavenly frequency. People feel you before they see you. They sense you before they understand you. And this alone is enough to unsettle anyone whose spirit is unprepared for the magnitude of your presence. You don't shine because you try. You shine because you are chosen. Your energy is unpredictable not because you are unstable, but because you are spiritually governed, not emotionally driven. You follow divine timing instead of routine. You don't move based on mood or trend or pressure. You move based on assignment. And this is what makes you magnetic. Let me tell you something personal: people accused me of being distant. Simply because my spirit moved differently than theirs. What they didn't know was that God was leading me into a higher dimension. They thought I was inconsistent, but spiritually I was evolving. They were reading my actions through earthly logic, while God was writing my story through heavenly patterns. You know this feeling too. People misread you because they misread the anointing. They misinterpret your silence. They misinterpret your boundaries. They misinterpret your emotional discipline. They misinterpret the calm that comes from knowing who walks with you. Your unpredictability is not chaos. It is divine order. One day you're quiet because God is whispering. The next day you're bold because God is pushing. One day you withdraw because heaven says, "Come away." The next day you shine because heaven says, "Go forth." People who operate only in the natural cannot understand someone who moves according to the supernatural. They crave patterns. You operate in prophecy. They want predictability. You flow in purpose. They want routine. You follow revelation. This is why some people fear you while others follow you. Why some admire you while others avoid you. They don't know what version of you they'll encounter. But every version of you is authentic and purposeful. Every version is necessary. Every version is you, chosen one. The reason your energy feels too much for some people is that their spirit is too small to hold what God put inside you. You intimidate them. Your presence exposes what they've ignored. Your growth highlights what they've avoided. Your evolution challenges what they've settled for. What they call intense, heaven calls anointed. What they call mysterious, heaven calls set apart. What they call different, heaven calls assigned. Your presence forces transformation. Whether people realize it or not, they change when you enter the room. Some grow, some awaken, some break, some resist, some run. But no one remains the same. Your energy is not gentle, it is impactful. It doesn't blend, it shifts. It doesn't whisper, it resonates. It doesn't adapt, it influences. This is why your life attracts the curious, the wounded, the lost. The envious, the hungry, the spiritually sensitive, and the spiritually blind. All of them feel you. But not all can interpret what they feel. They all respond because no one encounters a chosen one and remains neutral. And let me reveal another truth, people are not addicted to you. They are addicted to how they feel when your energy enters their environment. You make them feel something they can't generate on their own. You activate something dormant inside them. You stir something holy within them. You trigger something unresolved in them. You illuminate something hidden in them. This is why they come close. This is why they pull back. This is why they return. This is why they monitor you. This is why they cannot let go. You are not predictable. You are prophetic. You are not random. You are spiritually regulated. You are not confusing. You are divinely coded. Chosen one, don't shrink your energy to make others comfortable. Don't quiet your spirit to blend in. Don't dull your light to ease their insecurity. Don't apologize for being who God sculpted you into. Your unpredictability is evidence of your connection to heaven. Your magnetism is evidence of your divine assignment. Your atmosphere-shifting presence is evidence of your spiritual rank. You weren't made to fit in. You were made to transform. You weren't made to be understood. You were made to be revealed. You weren't made to be predictable. You were made to be divine. And this magnetic, unpredictable energy is only the beginning. Chosen one, hear this with a steady spirit. Real respect is never requested, negotiated, or begged for. True respect is a spiritual response. It rises automatically in the presence of someone who carries heaven's authority. And whether you see it or not, whether people admit it or not, you command respect simply by existing in your anointing. When you walk into a room, the air shifts, conversations stumble, eyes adjust. Spirits straighten themselves. Not because you are loud, demanding, or performing, but because something in you carries the memory of divine authority. The soul recognizes what the mind tries to deny. I've lived this personally. I've walked into rooms where I felt out of place on the outside, but inside I could feel heaven sitting on my shoulders. People who once spoke freely became cautious. It took years to understand. Authority isn't always spoken. Sometimes it's sensed. Chosen one, your confidence comes from a place deeper than personality. It comes from identity. You know who walks with you. You know who covers you. You know what battles you've survived. Respect flows toward those who have endured fire and did not lose their purity. Toward those who suffered quietly and emerged wiser. Toward those who never needed an audience to validate their becoming. This is why you don't have to raise your voice. This is why you don't have to prove your value. This is why you don't have to fight for recognition. Your existence is already marked by heaven. People sense that you don't operate from insecurity. They sense that your worth is not fragile. They sense that you do not chase acceptance, and that unsettles them, because most people are fueled by the need to be chosen. But you walk as someone who already is. They cannot understand how you remain calm when others crave validation. They cannot understand how you stay grounded when others chase attention. They don't understand that respect is radiated. Your presence reveals who people truly are. The humble feel inspired. The insecure feel threatened. The jealous feel exposed. The wise feel activated. The spiritually sensitive feel awakened. That's why some people treat you strangely. Not because something is wrong with you, but because something is unsettled within them. Respect that is forced will always produce resentment. But respect that is commanded produces transformation. Chosen one, when you walk in truth, others must adjust. When you move with purpose, others must realign. When you stand in your spiritual authority, others must recognize the shift, even if they never speak of it. This is why certain people lower their voice when you enter the room. This is why some grow quieter. This is why some suddenly act more controlled. They feel your presence even when you try to diminish it. And many will treat you like you think you're superior, not because you act superior, but because you refuse to shrink for their comfort. Remember this, your humility is not weakness. It is strength under full control. True kings and queens don't need to shout to be recognized. True warriors don't need to flaunt their scars to be respected. True leaders don't need to trample others to rise. You carry quiet power. Quiet power is the most intimidating kind. People are used to those who beg, boast, or broadcast. You do none of that. You simply exist in alignment, and that alone commands more respect than any performance ever could. Your respect comes from your discipline. Your endurance, your spiritual maturity, your emotional clarity, your refusal to betray yourself, your ability to stay grounded in storms, your unwavering connection to God's voice. Anyone can demand respect. But only the chosen can embody it. And here's a truth your spirit already knows: the ones who disrespect you the most are often the ones who respect you the deepest but lack the emotional maturity to admit it. They respect your strength but criticize your silence. They respect your clarity but resent your confidence. Their behavior is conflicted because their spirit recognizes your authority even when their ego refuses to. Chosen one, don't shrink. Don't soften yourself to make others feel safe in their smallness. Don't dull your discernment to make others comfortable in their confusion. Don't hide your anointing to protect their insecurity. You were not created to walk in borrowed authority. You were created to carry your own. Respect flows toward those who walk in truth. Honor rises toward those who walk in purpose. And reverence surrounds those who walk in God's timing. You are not demanding respect. You are embodying destiny. And destiny, by its nature, commands recognition in every room it enters. This is only another sign of who you truly are and what heaven has placed upon your life. Chosen one, let this truth settle deep into your spirit. You are not simply someone who pushes limits. You are someone who erases them. You don't stretch boundaries, you break them. You don't just challenge the impossible. You redefine what impossible even means. And this is why people stare at you with disbelief, confusion, admiration, or fear. You are walking proof that the limits people cling to are nothing but illusions. Your rise doesn't make sense to those around you. You take leaps that others would never dare to attempt. You land in places they said were unreachable. You recover from wounds they thought would destroy you. You accomplish things that should have taken years, yet somehow grace accelerates you beyond natural timing. And this is what terrifies them. You make supernatural movement look natural. I've lived this. I've watched God take me from the edge of collapse to levels of clarity and breakthrough I still cannot fully articulate. I remember seasons where I was boxed in by opinions, limited by expectations, underestimated by their logic. But heaven wasn't consulting them. Heaven was training me. Heaven was stretching me. Heaven was preparing me to step into realms they didn't even believe existed. You've been through this. People told you to slow down, not because they cared, but because your speed exposed their stagnation. They told you to be realistic, not because they were wise, but because your faith highlighted their fear. They told you, that's too much, too soon, not because you were moving recklessly, but because you were moving prophetically. You are not limited by the boundaries that bind others. Your hunger is different. Your vision is different. Your resilience is different. Your favor is different. Your capacity is different. And when God builds a person differently, He assigns them to rise differently. Embrace your unique ascent. Chosen one, you've shattered expectations in ways even you didn't see coming. You healed faster than the wound should have allowed. You rebuilt from ruins that should have buried you. You expanded where you once shrank. You ascended in environments that tried to suffocate you. You stepped into blessings that weren't even on your radar a year ago. Every time people tried to define you, you outgrew the definition. Every time they tried to confine you, you broke the container. Every time they thought you reached your limit, God whispered, "Watch what I do next." Your life is not a story of human potential. It is a demonstration of divine intervention. The reason people resist your growth is because your very existence confronts the limits they accepted too easily. You make them question their excuses. You make them confront their fears. You make them realize they've been living beneath their own potential. And that realization is uncomfortable. You didn't shatter limits because you're special. You shattered limits because you're called. And when God calls someone, He stretches their life beyond comprehension. The very things that were supposed to stop you became stepping stones. Obstacles became breakthroughs. The very moments that should have ended you became spiritual upgrades. You weren't meant to stay within the borders society gave you. You weren't meant to follow the pace others set. You weren't meant to fit the mold. You were designed to live above the boundaries that confine ordinary people. This is why you don't settle, why you don't stagnate, why you don't stay stuck. Something in your spirit refuses to stop at good enough. There's a fire in you that keeps pushing, reaching, expanding. I know that feeling intimately. I've sat in seasons where everything felt fine, but my spirit remained restless. Not because I was ungrateful, but because heaven was preparing me for a dimension I had not yet touched. Sometimes God makes your comfort feel uncomfortable just to remind you that you weren't created to die on the level where you started. That's you. You're not meant to operate in moderation. You're meant to operate in multiplication. And this is why your breakthroughs seem excessive or unrealistic to others, because they don't understand you're guided by a God who doesn't care about earthly limits. You serve the God who parted seas. The God who caused walls to fall. The God who raised the dead. The God who multiplies little into much. So why would your life look limited, predictable, or ordinary? Your story carries the fingerprints of a limitless God. Embrace this truth without apology. You are not intimidating. You are expansive, and people fear what they cannot contain. You redefine what is possible. Simply by living your truth. You challenge old ceilings by refusing to bow to them. You terrify small minds by thinking big. You frighten the insecure by rising confidently. You awaken the discouraged by breaking patterns they believed were permanent. Chosen one, your life is shifting the atmosphere around you. You don't just break limits, you create new ones for others to aim toward. And the world has no choice but to adjust to the new standard God is raising through you. This is not the peak. This is not the final chapter. This is not the height of your power. This is the beginning of the beginning. It's an exciting time. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when a difficult truth becomes undeniable. The very people who resisted you, gossiped about you, dismissed you, or tried to diminish you, are the same ones who cannot move forward without you. Their pride will never allow them to admit it. Yet something in them spiritually, emotionally, energetically is tied to your existence. Their life adjusts to your movements. Their ambition reacts to your progress. Their inner world reorients itself around the quiet, powerful imprint of your presence. This dependency is complex. It is not adoration, nor is it hatred. It is a conflict. They resent the fact that they need you. And they need you precisely because of what they lack. You stand as the living contrast between who they are and who they wish they could be. Your strength exposes their weakness. Your confidence stirs their insecurity. Your growth highlights their stagnation. Your obedience confronts their excuses. Your courage reveals their fear. And your elevation is a constant reminder that the ceilings they've accepted were never real to begin with. Many of these individuals do not need what you possess. They need what you represent. You are a mirror into the self they abandoned long ago. You awaken the dreams they buried. You stir the potential they avoided. Your presence disrupts their comfort and forces them to confront the truth they've been running from. They come near enough to watch you, yet stay far enough to deny their attachment. They shadow your footsteps, study your behavior, mimic your discipline, or silently absorb your strength, all while pretending they are unaffected. It is a contradiction born not of hypocrisy, but of inner conflict. Their spirit recognizes something their ego refuses to acknowledge. This is why their reactions often oscillate between admiration and aggression. Praise and criticism, fascination and rejection. They are not confused about you. They are conflicted about themselves. The mind resists what the spirit accepts. They feel a pull toward you. Not because they want to be you, but because they want to become someone other than who they currently are. Your evolution destabilizes their complacency. Your healing threatens their excuses. Your resilience dismantles their narratives. They resent you because in a silent, uncomfortable way, they rely on you to remind them of what is possible. Such dependency is rarely spoken aloud. Instead, it reveals itself through patterns. They monitor your progress. Even while pretending not to care. They imitate your ideas while criticizing your originality. They borrow your strength while questioning your motives. They use your journey as their inner measuring stick while denying comparison. You've become their compass. But there is a deeper truth beneath all of this. You were never responsible for their transformation. Your life is an invitation, not an obligation. Their discomfort is not proof of your wrongdoing. Their resistance is not evidence of your arrogance. Their resentment is not a sign that you should shrink. Their instability is not a sign that you should apologize. You are responsible only for following what God placed before you, for rising, growing, healing, obeying, and becoming everything heaven intended. Because you obeyed when others doubted, because you continued when others quit, because you surrendered when others resisted, your life now carries a kind of spiritual force that others cannot ignore. It is the gravitational pull of purpose, the quiet authority of survival, the glow of someone who has walked through fire and come out gold. This glow, this clarity, this transformation. It captivates people who haven't yet confronted their own calling. In truth, they do not hate your light. They hate the shadows your light exposes. They do not hate your growth. They hate the stagnation they've tolerated. They do not hate your elevation. They hate the ceilings they've built for themselves. They do not hate that you rose. They hate that they didn't rise with you. But this too is part of the calling of a chosen one. Your journey does not only bless you, it awakens others. Your evolution becomes a catalyst. Your existence becomes a sermon. Your transformation becomes a map. And whether they accept it or reject it, resent you or revere you, your life becomes the evidence that greatness is possible. You are their reminder. You are their wake-up call. You are their collision with truth. You are their invitation into more. Embrace this power. And though they may hate that they need you, their need is the clearest confirmation of who you truly are. Someone assigned not to comfort the world but to change it. Someone destined to break patterns. Someone crafted not to soothe insecurity but to expose possibility. Chosen one, do not shrink your destiny to suit their discomfort. Do not dim your light to prevent their shadows from showing. Do not lower your calling to make their excuses feel justified. You were not chosen to keep people comfortable. You were chosen to make people awaken. And as you continue walking your path, remember their dependency is not your burden. It is your confirmation. Chosen one, as this message closes, breathe in the truth heaven is placing on your spirit. You are in your Kairos moment. What others wonder about you is simply evidence of God's hand moving in ways they cannot understand. The supernatural transfer has already begun. Doors are aligning. Favor is unfolding. Breakthrough is approaching with precision. You don't need to explain yourself. You only need to stay aligned, stay surrendered, and stay faithful to the path God has set before you. Let them wonder, let them talk. Your rise is spiritual, not explainable. Your presence is a sign. Your journey is a prophecy. May God's peace cover you, His wisdom guide you, and His favor go before you. If this word stirred something in you, share it in the comments below. Your moment is not coming. Your moment is now.